Hi everybody, Matt Bernier here in the Daily Racing Forum studios, joined by DRF's national handicapper Mike Watchmaker. We're taking a look at this Saturday's Weekend Warrior for July the 1st. Big day of racing down at Gulfstream Park. It is the Summit of Speed, 2 races down there that we'll go over. Let's start off with the Princess Rooney, Mike, 7/8 of a mile on the main track. Big full fields then at Gulfstream all day on Saturday. It's a nice thing to see. You've got a number of horses coming out of the inside information. You're going to go with one of them. That's the Dearest.
Right. Dearest finished third in the inside information. She had a pretty big lead in mid-stretch, 3.5 lengths, and she wound up finishing third, a narrowly beaten third, behind Distincta and Wheatfield, who are both back in this race. And the inside information was 7 furlongs, just like the Princess Rooney is. So you would say, well, why would I want a horse that blew a big stretch lead at Gulfstream Park? And I'll tell you why. Because the pace situation is completely different this time around on the Princess Rooney, and it's much more favorable to Dearest. As a matter of fact, I thought Dearest ran extremely well to be as close as she was in the inside information and for almost winning it, because on a day where the track wasn't particularly fast, I mean, the condition was fast, but the times weren't all that exceptional. Dearest contested a pace that was pretty strong, and evidence as to how strong that pace was that the 2 other horses that were most involved with Dearest early wound up finishing 7th in the field of 8, beaten 16.5 lengths, and 8th and last, beaten almost 34 lengths. And yet Dearest finished third, beaten 1/2 a length. I mean, she ran giant that day. She's had time to recover. There's really no other major speed in this race. I mean, there are a handful of horses that have position early speed, but I think Dearest is absolutely the controlling speed this time. And I don't think 7 furlongs is an issue for her, because the inside information was her 3rd career attempt at 7 furlongs, and she narrowly missed carrying it off. And she won her prior to, including the Azalea, almost a year to the day over the Gulfstream Park main track. So I'm looking for Dearest to take this field wire to wire.
You got a couple other horses in here that figure to take the lion's share of the money, and they're going to break right next to one another. The 7 Curlin's Approval, the 8 Lightstream. You could make the case that Curlin's Approval started to kind of go off form in the inside information, but at the same time, they tried to go 2 turns with her in the most recent start in the Matron. And then Lightstream's a horse that just takes money each and every time. Do either one of these horses do anything for you?
Well, I think they're both pace disadvantaged in this race. I much prefer Lightstream to Curlin's Approval if I had to pick between the 2. I mean, I think Lightstream is actually the best horse on paper in this race. She won 2 graded stakes races at the 7 furlong distance last year as a 3-year-old, and she was a close second in the grade 1 test at this 7 furlong distance. And now she's making her 3rd start as a 4-year-old. She should be primed for a peak performance. Her 3rd in the Bed of Roses last time out was a significant step forward, but she's a dead closer, and I just don't think she gets a good pace setup. I mean, as for Curlin's Approval, if she wins, I'll just walk away shaking my head, because she's been odds on in her last 2 starts, and she was beaten in her last. I mean, she's actually been odds on in her last 5 starts, but she was beaten in her last 2 starts at odds on, and she didn't move a muscle in either one of them, including the inside information where she pulled a beautiful trip, and she just never moved the muscle in the race. And so, I just think she's way off form, and she's lost whatever positional speed she used to have, and I wouldn't touch her at all in this race.
Other familiar names in this field that people may know. You hear Bird at the Wire, who goes out for Tom Proctor. You hear Kinsley Kisses on the far outside for Todd Pletcher. Anybody else in this race do anything for you?
Well, I think Lightstream is the 2nd best horse, and if I had to pick 1, 2, 3s in the race, Lightstream would be my 2nd pick in here. I mean, Kinsley Kisses is a little bit interesting. I mean, she's got a good trip from her outside post. I like horses when they figure to have stalking trips, to be stalking from the outside as opposed to the inside, where they can't get shuffled back when they're on the outside. And I think she's kind of a more interesting horse for a minor part of the race.
Race 12, Gulfstream Park, Saturday afternoon, scheduled post time 5:34 Eastern, but we know our friends at Gulfstream, maybe that drags on a little bit. Mike's going to go with Dearest in the grade 2 Princess Rooney. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we'll take a look at another race down at Gulfstream Saturday afternoon. That's the Smile Sprint.